Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello on the programme this evening.
A familiar story for thousands of parents in our region. The chronic shortage of educational psychologists, the experts whose help can transform a child's life. A special report coming up.
At 3, sort of 3.5, he'd punch children, he'd bite them, he'd kick them, he'd kick teachers. I remember that one of his very first teachers, her feet were all bruised because he'd stamp on her feet a lot.
10 years after Liverpool elected its first mayor, could the council be about to scrap the job altogether? We'll be live with the latest.
What the three dads walking are doing next. Mike Palmer tells us how personal loss has turned them into men on a mission. We're diving into the depths of the Irish Sea to uncover the secrets of a maritime mystery dating back to the Second World War.
And in the weather, Riley's very happy it's cooling down again, aren't we all? But what next? All the details coming up later in the programme.
Yeah, thanks for your company. First tonight, and the growing number of children in our region with special educational needs who are being left behind because of a financial black hole.
Extreme financial pressure on already cash-strapped school budgets has meant a reduction in the number of educational psychologists. They're specialists whose job it is to help young people achieve their full potential. In the last 8 years, the number of children with emotional or behavioural issues has almost doubled. But our region's seen a fall in the number of ed-psychs, as they're called. Yeah, it means many pupils are missing out on an important service and effectively being left out of learning. Anna Yosef has this special report.
Mason's just turned 7. He's bright, popular with his classmates and really likes school. But that wasn't always the case. Mason, what do you most enjoy about school?
Everything.
At one stage, he struggled to communicate, his behaviour was out of control and he needed an adult next to him watching his every move.
At 3, sort of 3.5, he'd punch children, he'd bite them, he'd kick them, he'd kick teachers. I remember that one of his very first teachers, her feet were all bruised because he'd stamp on her feet a lot.
Mason got help. Thousands of children don't. He started working with the school's educational psychologist. The difference in his behaviour was almost immediate.
Mason's got ADHD, a sensory processing disorder, a social communication disorder, a dyspraxia. He has a sleep disorder, and he's on the pathway for autism as well. So we've got them now sort of categorised. Not because we want to put names and labels on things, so he has the right signposting and the right pathway for his future.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't had this help?
We'd have been lost. Totally lost in a system that is not sort of weighed towards children.
Charlotte's 9. She's been diagnosed with anxiety, an eating disorder and ADHD. She also self-harms.
It used to be on her arms and on her face, but as she's got older, she's more aware of other children seeing it, so she does it in places that people can't see it now.
Gemma says the school and its special educational needs team have been their main source of support. Charlotte's benefited from being around people who understand her, but Gemma's still worried about her daughter's future. These issues, unless somebody's been in your shoes, they don't realise they're life or death, aren't they?
Absolutely. It is life or death for Charlotte at the moment, because she's eating so little. Obviously, like, school can see that it's impacting. She hasn't got the physical strength. We're at the point now where, like, education is having to come second, because the main thing is to get Charlotte through, to get her eating and just keeping her alive.
The number of children with special educational needs has nearly doubled since 2014, but council cuts have led many local authorities to either reduce their educational psychology team or become a service schools pay for. There's also a national shortage of educational psychologists. Lee Randall says demand for his services has never been greater. What difference can an ed psych make to a child's chances?
For children with more severe challenges, what you're talking about really is a massive impact on life chances. You're talking about things like being able to live independently, being able to stay out of the criminal justice system, being able to form relationships with other people, let alone be able to thrive and get a job and do well in exams. So a good educational psychologist can have lifelong impacts for children's outcomes, meaning that they literally have a much happier, more fulfilled life than they otherwise would have.
This school's paid for an educational psychologist for the past 10 years. They say the cost of making children and families wait for help can be just too high.
Paying for an ed psych comes out of your school budget. How sustainable is that?
It's opposite, it has to be. We'd go without other things. But there's a real shortage of ed psychs. So in this local authority, we haven't had a local authority ed psych in our school for nearly 2 years. Because the children only get one chance. And an ed psych helps us help the child and their family to actually be the best that they can be and to be who they should be.
In response, the government said,
"We're investing over £10 million to train over 200 more educational psychologists from September 2023 to provide crucial support to children and young people with SEND, as well as families, schools and local authorities. We have also made an additional £3.7 billion available to councils to ensure they are able to deliver key services, including through funding for educational psychologists."
While children at this school can access specialist support if they need it, with overstretched budgets and lengthy waiting lists, many others are struggling to get the help they desperately need. Anna Yosef, ITV News, Birkenhead.
That is a story that will resonate with a lot of parents, I'm sure. And just so you know, in the Wirral, where Anna's report was filmed, the council say they will reimburse schools for the money they spend on educational psychologists if the schools find one quicker than they can.
Yeah, and the right help really can make all the difference, can't it? OK, well, next tonight, and 10 years ago, the people of Liverpool elected their first mayor. But tonight, the city's on the verge of ditching the post.
Yeah, at a council meeting, the ruling Labour group seem likely to abolish the position of mayor and votes to go back to a system of having a council leader and cabinet.
But there are those in the city who say the changes and the current controversy surrounding the council is damaging Liverpool's reputation. Well, our reporter Tim Scott's outside the council offices for us now. And Tim, first question, why abolish the mayor?
Well, Vicky, the answer isn't that straightforward or simple. The assistant mayor, Paul Brand, told me earlier it's because of politicians of all persuasions just don't like the idea of a city mayor, many of them preferring instead the traditional model of a cabinet with an elected leader. Then, of course, there are the controversies over how the city's been run in the past few years. The previous mayor, Joe Anderson, under investigation by the police, although he denies any wrongdoing. We have government commissioners brought in here last year after a highly critical report into how the council was being run. Earlier this week, we've had the chief executive Tony Reeves. He's resigned, and a public consultation into how the city was being run received a really poor response. Just 11,500 responses in a city of around 500,000 people. Paul Brand told me perhaps that shows that people here just really aren't bothered whether Liverpool has a mayor or not.
This is a very low consultation response, and perhaps it reflects the fact that although I think systems of governance are really important, that it's not a big issue for members of the public. So there is a strong argument to say that the reason why the public were not engaged is because they're saying, you get on with that stuff, make your decisions, but we want you politically to concentrate on getting the services right. And that's what we're going to move on to after tonight's debate.
And Tim, it is true to say that there are now some who say that all of this bad press surrounding the council is bad for Liverpool's image as a progressive and successful city.
Yes, Gamal, well, it's been a torrid few years for the council here, and public affairs consultant Frank McKenna I spoke to earlier said people in the business community just want to see the city governed in the correct way.
Just controversy upon controversy, and unnecessarily so. Listen, people in the business community don't care about governance models. We just want to see something that is in place and actually is effective. What we've got at the moment, it seems to us, is inertia, almost a zombified council. As I say, commissioners taking decisions but not necessarily communicating those decisions well. identifying lots of problems but not coming up with many solutions.
Also, finally, Tim, what happens to Joanne Anderson, the current mayor, if the Labour group goes ahead and abolishes her job?
Well, Vicky, if that happens, it's expected she'll stay in post until council elections next year, when Liverpool's experiment with a city mayor will almost certainly come to an end. Vicky, come on. OK, Tim Scott in Liverpool, thank you.
In other news today, and a major search is underway after reports that a swimmer went missing in the River Mersey in New Brighton. Emergency services have been searching the water for 8 hours after another swimmer raised the alarm. The RNLI say a lifeboat and hovercraft were sent out as part of the search.
A police detective from Stockport's been charged with a string of sex offences. Detective Constable Stephen Hardy of Greater Manchester Police is accused of 20 sexual offences, including 4 counts of rape. Police say he's been suspended from duty. He'll appear in court next month.
The Paris Chief of Police has been removed from his job after the chaotic scenes before and after the Champions League final in May. French police tear gassed and pepper sprayed Liverpool fans outside the Stade de France. The Prefect of Police, Didier Lallement, claimed up to 40,000 Liverpool fans had tried to enter the ground with a fake ticket. A French Senate report last week exonerated Liverpool supporters of causing the problems.
Bus passengers in the northwest have seen more disruption to their travel plans today. Arriva bus workers are taking strike action in a dispute over pay. The action will affect services across the northwest. Management are expected to hold more talks with unions this week in a bid to resolve the issue.
People over the age of 50 and those at high-risk groups on the Isle of Man are to be offered another COVID booster vaccine in autumn. The Manx government says the booster programme is the island's best hope of returning to a normal way of life. Full details will be announced in the next few months. OK, lots of reasons to stay with us on Granada Reports, still to come.
From working out in the home gym with his dad to fighting on the world stage in mixed martial arts, we're meeting the rising star of UFC, Tom Aspinall from Atherton.
And we've all been seeking some shade over the past few days, but with the weather turning cooler, not sure now how much we'll need it. All the details coming up shortly.
Right, well, next tonight to an incredibly moving story that we featured on the programme before. It's the 3 dads who lost their daughters to suicide and made it their mission to raise both money and awareness to help more young people in need of support.
Their 300-mile walking challenge raised nearly £1 million for the suicide prevention charity Papyrus and inspired many along the way to open up about their own experiences of grief.
Well, now the dads are uniting for an even bigger challenge, a month-long 600-mile trek to all the UK parliaments. Now, Mike Palmer from Sale is one of those dads. He lost his 17-year-old daughter, Beth, during the first lockdown. He joined us in the studio a little bit earlier and he told me he never imagined he'd find himself in this position.
It does, absolutely. I would never have put Beth and suicide in the same sentence in a million years. You know, we were the family, it would never happen to us. You know, Beth, bright, bubbly, full of life, full of ambition. You know, she was there one minute and gone the next. What does it do for myself, Andy and Tim? Yeah, it gives us point. It gives us purpose. You know, if we can make a difference, you know, good. And it does help us as well. It drives us on because we do have a belief in what we do is the right thing.
You've raised an incredible amount of money, £900,000 already, but it's not just about the fundraising, is it? It's also raising awareness.
Absolutely. We raise the money for a wonderful charity, Papyrus, who are dedicated to preventing young suicide. So they run their Hopeline UK, a first call number you can ring if you are a young person struggling. It's all about awareness, isn't it? It's all about awareness and education. If you're aware about what's happening to you, your own feelings, you'll know where to reach out. But that goes for, you know, sort of concerned others. If they're aware of someone struggling, they recognise the signs. What we're going to be talking about on 3 Dads Walking UK 2022 will be basically, we want a far more robust education system in. We have to get a balance between academic qualifications and basic life qualifications. Educate them from an early age, build on that through early age so they can carry these life skills on for the rest of their lives, so they can look after themselves but also look after those they come in contact with, whether it be families, friends.
It's just so important, isn't it? And so you've got another challenge now, Three Dads Walking UK, which is, again, you're hoping to raise awareness with. Just tell us a little bit about that and how it's going to work.
We are. We're going to go through all the parliaments of the UK. So we're going to start in Stormont in Northern Ireland on the 9th of September. That's like a prologue, if you like. But we start walking really on the 10th of September in Edinburgh at Holyrood. So the significance of that date is it is International Suicide Awareness Day. So we're going to make our way down, all the way down to the Senedd in Cardiff and then across to Westminster. So we're going to be walking for a month, and we're going to be walking and talking all the way.
So it was 300 miles for the first challenge, and this is 600 miles. That's a huge step up, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a long way, and we're going to have to look after our feet. But myself, Andy and Tim always felt as though this had to happen. We had to do it. There was never a question. When the last walk last year finished, we knew our work wasn't done.
What would Beth say about this challenge that you're doing, do you think?
I think she'd laugh at all three of us. Three, you know, sort of old dads in their shorts walking, but I think she'd be amazingly proud. I do.
I think she would too. Mike, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today. And all the best with the challenge.
Thank you.
We're right behind you.
Thank you.
He just continues to inspire, doesn't he?
He certainly does. Extraordinary man.
You can find out more about the Three Dads UK Challenge and also where to find help with the issues raised on our website, the usual address, itv.com/Granada.
All right, well, here's what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Charlene.
Coming up, the devastating consequences of yesterday's record-breaking temperatures. Families left with nothing as homes burned to the ground. We're down to the final two. Our next Prime Minister's either Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss. Inflation hits a new 40-year high as the cost of everyday goods continues to rise. And it's the Lionesses up against Spain in the Euros quarter-finals. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Come on, the Lionesses. Some more sports news. And in Super League, the St Helens head coach Christian Wolff has played down reports he's about to leave the club. It's been reported down under that he's taken up a coaching role in Australia with the new NRL club Dolphins. Wolff, who has won 2 grand finals and a Challenge Cup in his 2.5 years at St Helens, says the reports are not correct at the moment.
And it's a big weekend for mixed martial arts in the Northwest, a sport that's just growing and growing in popularity. On Saturday, Liverpool's Paddy Pimblett and Molly McCann will both fight in front of 20,000 fans at London's O2 Arena.
But headlining the night is a rising heavyweight star of UFC, Tom Aspinall from Atherton in Greater Manchester. His talent was spotted at the age of 12 by his dad, who actually quit his job to train him. David Chisnell reports.
What we're going for.
From this small home gym in Atherton, big things are happening in the world of mixed martial arts. For the last 17 years, Tom Aspinall has grown up training here with his dad Andy. And on Saturday, these humble surroundings will be swapped for the grander setting of London's O2 Arena as the heavyweight headlines UFC's fight night against American Curtis Blades in front of 20,000 fans.
That was always in my mind, from being in the home gym to being in the O2 with 20,000 people. Like, I was thinking about that way before I was there. When I was inside there on the cold days practicing and going over techniques and stuff, that's what I was thinking of. I've put in hours and hours of work in the home gym, so it's somewhere I'm always going to train, do you know what I mean? It's like a second home for me to train in there, so very important.
So no matter how big you get, no matter how many belts, you know, you're going to conquer all of UFC,
I'll still be coming back there to train, yeah, definitely.
Well, Tom is a rising star of UFC with 5 wins, 0 defeats.
How old was he on that then?
Now 29, his potential was spotted as a 12-year-old by his dad, who quit his job in IT to train him.
I was teaching jiu-jitsu at a few different places, and I just decided that Tom was really good at competing, and I just thought I want to spend loads of time with my kids. And for me it was important getting a balance between time and money. I value my time more than I did money, and it's turned out good.
My dad was in a position where he could quit his job and focus on like grappling and me full time, and it's paying off for him now. So I think at the time a lot of people thought he was crazy, but I think now everyone's thinking that was a pretty good move there. You've done well.
Now, as a father of 3 young boys himself, Tom has an extra appreciation for all his dad has done. He's been the biggest influence on his career and even talked him into returning to the sport after he'd walked away from it.
It's a big commitment to be involved in the sport, especially on the lower level. You're making no money and getting injured and all that stuff. Like it's painful physically and mentally. So I never recommend it for young people to get into the sport unless they really, really want to commit themselves to it.
My whole thing is I'm trying to look after my son, and I'm trying to make him the best he can so he doesn't get hurt. I'm not bothered if he loses fights. That's not an issue. It's a sport. You know, he'll win and he'll lose. My issue is that he's the best he can be.
Well, the drive to be the best has seen Tom spar the best. He's even been in the ring with Morecambe's heavyweight boxing world champion Tyson Fury and his cousin Hughie.
I've been in with so many good guys to spar. It rubs off on you a little bit. You get a little bit of that confidence and swagger that they've got, so it's definitely a good experience.
What do you want your legacy to be?
If you want me to be completely honest, I want people to think of me as one of the best fighters that's ever walked the face of the earth. I'm not just in it to be like a cage fighter and be a celebrity. Like, that doesn't interest me. I want to be like one of the best people ever to do this sport.
Well, if Tom does achieve that, then this small gym will have played a huge role in his rise to greatness. David Chisnell, ITV News, Atherton.
That's brilliant, isn't it? He's definitely got the confidence and the swagger that you need.
Yeah.
Well, next, to stand by for some more stunning footage. This time it's underwater as we tell the story of a German submarine which sank with its crew off the coast of the Isle of Man.
The U-246 was tasked with sinking Allied ships heading to and from the UK during the Second World War. It was discovered by a team of Manx divers.
But the story doesn't stop there. Relatives of some of the German sailors who died have visited the wreck to pay their respects. Our Isle of Man reporter Joshua Stokes has more.
Hidden beneath the Irish Sea, a discovery dating back over 80 years. Just a few miles off the Manx coast, a German submarine used during the Second World War.
Captured Nazi war films provide us with an unique opportunity to see German submarines of an undersea wolf pack returning from prowling the Atlantic sea lanes.
This is the U-246, sunk between the Isle of Man and Anglesey. It took its final dive in 1945 after coming under fire by an anti-submarine trawler operating from Fleetwood. And it's only one of a number of shipwrecks dotted around the Manx coast. The stories around this small island may go unnoticed by many, but the mysteries lying beneath these waters run deep. Some of them still yet to be discovered.
Here's the conning tower now with a periscope, one of the 2 periscopes lying on top of it.
Adrian has been gathering data on shipwrecks for 35 years. He's logged over 2,000 wrecks around the Manx coast, with 120 still visible to divers today.
What I've said to people, sort of famous expression, is the Isle of Man gets in the way of ships. It's a big island in the middle of the Irish Sea, and it's on the key shipping routes, both from Liverpool, Glasgow and up from the St George's Channel. My database has to evolve, and it's never complete. I mean, I've been working on it for 35 years, and I'm still learning new stuff every day.
Learning and educating, as after almost 80 years of peace, the research team is now helping a father and son from Germany learn more about their lost family.
What we knew about his granduncle is that he was lost in the sea, but only recently when we found Dave's Copley report from 2015 that they found that boat in the Irish Sea. That is when we knew there's something special about his story, and that made us want to come here.
Working together, the group has compiled all their information and created a valuable addition to naval history.
I think everybody paid their respects, because it is in effect a war grave, so, you know, and it means closure to the families of this U-boat, because for many years they didn't know exactly what happened to it, and it's only with this project that we've actually brought all the pieces together, the history of the U-boat, why she sank, and now footage of the wreck itself, so the story is sort of complete.
This was totally worth it to come out here. It was just not only the beauty of the island and everything, but it also was a great experience, and it eventually brought the peace in mind to our family, what happened to that granduncle.
How important is it that research continues on shipwrecks?
We learn an awful lot of history because it tends to repeat itself, and in fact the plaque we put on U246 has a quote from JF Kennedy that mankind must put an end to all war, or else war will put an end to mankind, and it's never been so true that we need to learn from the lessons of the past.
Wow, that underwater footage is remarkable, isn't it?
It's absolutely gorgeous, and the Isle of Man looking beautiful in the sunshine too.
As ever, as ever. Here's Emma with the weather.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, back in the studio today. Much fresher inside and outside as well, down 15 to 17 degrees on where we were yesterday, and so many records set as well on Tuesday. However, these are all provisional stats at the moment because data is still coming in from official Met Office weather sites, and so we'll keep you updated over the next few days. But a couple of UK records, new national records for Scotland and Wales, and a new regional record as well for Nantwich in Cheshire. Now, the most remarkable thing about this past 24 to 48 hours is that with all these records being beaten, they're not just being beaten by an increment or by a tenth of a degree, but actually by a significant amount, by several degrees. And also the spread of those hot temperatures is absolutely vast. 34 sites beating records, 5 matching previous records, and 6 locations in England recorded temperatures above 40 Celsius. So really has been an absolutely astonishing 24 to 48 hours. All that hot air is now pushed away to the east, though, on that first cold front. A second one came through today, bringing more cloud and a few showers. We've got high pressure building in for Thursday, Friday, but it's a cloudy high, not a sunny high. And then we have this system, low pressure to the northwest, pulling in over the weekend, and that will draw in more unsettled weather for Saturday and Sunday. Over the next few hours, though, 1 or 2 showers continue for a while, possibly just over the Pennines, but everything dries up after midnight. A cloudy night, light winds, a little bit breezier through the Irish Sea, and more comfortable temperatures for sleeping. We keep saying that a lot, don't we? It's all getting a bit more comfortable now. Sun's up tomorrow at 7 minutes past 5. It'll be cloudy initially, 1 or 2 showers go on for a while, and as some brighter spells develop, they may kick off a few showers as well. Through the afternoon, getting brighter, highs around 20 Celsius. After that, fairly cloudy.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
On then to the pollen report now. Counts moderate or high over the next few days. Yes, we are coming to the end of the grass pollen season, but there's still some mugwort and also some wildflower pollen in the air. That's it for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Emma. Well, finally tonight, so a piece of Northwest comedy history, which has gone under the hammer and been sold to the highest bidder.
Yeah, to some, this is St Gregory Social Club in Farnworth near Bolton. But to so many others, us included,
Yes.
It is the Phoenix Club from Phoenix Nights. Today, the original sign from Peter Kay's show fetched £3,000 at auction in Leyland. And the new owner is Andrew Molyneux from Liverpool. Well done, mate.
Well done, Andrew. Glad it wasn't Den Perry. The lovely Den Perry.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your night.